Look, I speaking to the people of Minnesota right now, I hear that scream from you, and I'll continue to plead and ask you for peace. And I know the answer is you ask us for peace and we give it, and we get shot in the face on the streets coming out of a donut shop. We cannot give them what they want. I don't know how to say this in so many terms, to watch the madness that we've witnessed over this last week coming out of the White House and what it's doing here. My confidence is, and I say it to Minnesotans, as I've said, exercise your First Amendment rights, speak out, bear witness and document legally. But I understand the risk in that, and I understand the courage that it takes to have people out there doing this. Thank God we have video, because according to DHS, these 7 heroic guys took an onslaught of a battalion against them or something. It's nonsense, people. It is nonsense, and it's
the party told you to reject what you saw with your own eyes.
You know who you are, and you demonstrate it every single day, and we damn sure know who these people are. The American public knows, and this needs to be the event that says enough. Go ahead. No, I'm up front.
We are going to take the Texas Senate Democratic primary debate here at the top of the hour. This is live in Minneapolis.
The question was related to whether or not the BCA is on the ground currently with the investigation, and a reference to previous investigations that the BCA have attempted to be a part of. What I'll tell you right now is that we no longer have BCA agents or public safety, state patrol, or Minneapolis on the ground at that crime scene.
Is that an instruction by the federal government, or did you pull your agents out?
What I will tell you, and not to get further into the investigation, but DHS pulled out of the scene, leaving that to Minnesota State Patrol, Minneapolis. We did not have enough resources to be able to hold that ground safely, and we had to leave that scene because of the number of people that were available and the safety of those in the public and the safety of our teams. We were able to get there, but at that time we were not able to hold that scene to do a crime scene investigation. I can't talk any more about those details. We'll have more on that, but the BCA is engaged and involved, and we are working at the request of the Minneapolis Police Department on this, on the scene and in this investigation. So we are there, we're available. We want to make sure that we continue to work on this and engage with our federal law enforcement, but at this point, we don't have anything more to share about the crime scene. Again, we were not able to hold it. We wanted to make sure and keep people safe, but federal law enforcement left the scene and left us there.
So they fled a crime scene. Arrest them.
Yeah. Yes, the answer is yes, we have, as we said last week, and we staged those troops. I'll have General Menke talk about where they're at, and again, use this as an opportunity to stress to Minnesotans the frustration you have, and as you saw this, they killed a man, created chaos, pushed down protesters, threw gas indiscriminately, and then left the scene, and then we're left to clean up. I understand the anger. I understand trying to parse who were the law enforcement on the scene when you got there after a man was killed is difficult for folks who are out there, but I can't stress enough our goal, and I'll have General Menke talk about what the role of these Guard troops are in conjunction with incredible work from the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, from mutual aid across, and of course the State Patrol, of trying to get to the point where what we're saying is we can handle this and Minnesotans can express their First Amendment rights and have our folks on the streets and get these people out of here. And so, John, if you want to talk a little bit, but the answer is yes, there's activated. He can talk to you about numbers. Yeah.
So the question is, what's the National Guard doing right now? So we have, we have been on on state active duty for over a week. So
Flash, I never saw him draw. I did see the video that shows that the agent disarmed him, but I thought the agent took it like from
we have
his
a request from the Hennepin County
from a holster on his side or something. But it's also hard to like. There's
need to do.
3 or 4 angles now that have come out. I haven't watched them all extensively.
First area of support will be assisting them with their requirement to provide security.
Or was he just reacting to being shot, Flash?
And then we are in parallel planning with other organizations within the state of Minnesota, to include the State Patrol, the Minnesota DNR, and other local agencies to render assistance if requested. I would say that the number that we have is adequate for the requests that we have right now, and I will also tell you that we are bringing more resources that will.
And the first video that I watched, I don't really want to show on stream because it seems like Twitch will get me for that.
Talk at this time. I'd like not to get into
It's pretty fucking graphic.
operational security standpoint, but right now we have all the resources.
But I have not watched all the other videos to see if there's one that I feel comfortable showing.
I would note on this one, too, that we'll be billing the federal government for the cost of the National Guard because they are incurring the costs that are falling on us by their reckless actions. Yes, sir.
Warlord says I can't show any of them. I didn't think I could. Maybe we'll take a news station that's blurred things out.
I'm rejecting the rush to judgment within 15 minutes of this, which they did last time. That's why you need to have a fair investigation, and that's why a video.
It's brutal if you haven't seen it, if you have not seen the videos yet.
But they already will slander this individual. They've already made this the case, and I will just say you will all start to see it, and some of you probably have. There's multiple angles of this.
You will on TikTok. TikTok is insane about violence.
Not to trust your eyes.
I have so many strikes on
Seeing in
TikTok.
front of them, and at some point in time, you're reporting, and I think the reporting this week has been spectacular across Minnesota, that there's not two sides to every story. But in this situation, what I'm saying is we need to have a fair investigation, understanding what's happening, and held accountable. We continue to hear, and we heard it from the vice president, that these folks can do whatever they want. They can have full immunity. And what I'm telling you is they will not. There will be justice to Minnesotans. Continue to gather the information. So I won't say where it is because I think it's irresponsible to make that judgment. But what I see with my eyes and what you're going to see with your eyes makes that pretty hard to believe. And I would imagine as a federal officer, they would have come out and sounded like these professionals sound and say, we need to gather the information, we need to gather all the facts, we need to put them forward, and then we can make some informed decision based on the fact. They've written the narrative already. And the audacity to critique the police chief of Minneapolis after what work that those heroic officers are trying to do, and to be critiqued by this guy, I mean, I don't know, I've said it a lot, but America, as you're listening, enough is enough. Enough is enough of this. End this. End this.
It's not enough yet. We had the chuds in chat earlier.
You're in Philly. You're in my.
We're doing vertical streaming on YouTube, and apparently YouTube's pushing it hard, so that's why we had
Our children
more
are in
chatters.
A 5-year-old.
But I believe we've ran off the chuds.
And the Spider-Man. Is there not like some narrative to throw around, to parade around?
But they're like,
You had
abuse me, daddy government. They want it.
And we have.
That's what they voted
I'll
for.
let the investigation play itself out. We will do our best to find it, but I don't know. You kill a man and then you just leave your law enforcement, just leaving him. Is there a single case in American history where you just like walk away and say, "I guess that just happened"?
Because they're not actual law enforcement.
I'm proud of Minnesotans. I'm proud of law enforcement here and our partners, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I think we have time for another one. So yes, ma'am. I'm better off to let these guys, the professionals. I have my thoughts.
So the question was, what are we doing to assist federal law enforcement on getting violent criminals off the street, if I understand the question?
Demanding Trump remove ICE.
state and local law enforcement are always ready and willing and able to arrest violent offenders. We do not stand down from that, no matter where we get that information from. If there are violent offenders or violent criminals or violent crimes, we will investigate and we'll bring those to justice. If the federal government would like to work with us, to continue to work with us as they have in the past, to locate those violent offenders, we are always,
After watching the rally yesterday,
and always,
we're not there yet. America's not there yet, even though 100,000 people showed up.
do that. All of you as part of the media.
Ukulele dude talked about how everyone needs a kitten. We're not angry enough
That is
yet.
our mission. The federal government is not alone in arresting violent
And get this, ukulele dude with the kitten, and I'm sure it wasn't him personally. It was whatever record label they're on. They're sharing revenue with me for that stream from
We want
yesterday
a safe Minnesota.
on
The
YouTube.
federal government is not the only one to do that.
Fucking dystopia. They're going to share in my 14 cents I might have got from YouTube. We're about 5 minutes away from the Texas Senate Democratic primary debate featuring Jasmine Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett, relatively unknown James Talarico, and I think I like him. What I've heard from him, which is very little at this point. We'll find out a lot more about him here in about 5 minutes. He might be to the left of Crockett, so that's what we'll be taking here in about 5 minutes. The Texas Senate Democratic primary debate.
Correct. Hopefully an hour.
In an hour?
Said hopefully in an hour.
That was Governor Walz speaking from Minneapolis. I figured they'd go back to like a live shot. Let's go to, this is Fox 9 out of Minneapolis. I think I've also got CARE. All the Minneapolis stations are up. While I go find us some Texas public radio or public television or whatever.
Requested assistance from the Minnesota National Guard to support our deputies at the Whipple building so that we can reallocate deputies to other areas in need of support in the county. Their job will be to assist the sheriff's office in protecting life, preserving property, and to help ensure the safety of all community members. Now, the Minnesota National Guard's role, she writes, is to work with supportive local law enforcement and emergency responders, providing additional resources. Their presence is meant to help create a secure environment where all Minnesotans can exercise their rights safely. Basically, she's trying to do is protect her own resources so that she can serve the entire county and not send all of her deputies for crowd control.
All right, we have Kelly O'Connell out there on the scene, who's been out there for several hours now following what's been happening with the protests and the shooting. We are going to go to her live right now for the latest what's happening there. Kelly?
Yeah, hi guys. Here we are at Nicollet and Thur 26, obviously the scene of the killing here earlier and the shooting. This is the situation.
So we've been with
confirm what you just heard in that
Minneapolis.
We don't see any law enforcement here. These are just people here gathering. It's been growing in numbers for sure. Obviously, the main situation here at 26 and Nicollet, but what you can't see is that the crowd of people stretches along Nicollet, and it is continuing to grow. I continue to see people come here with signs, with flags, demonstrating and chanting. That's what you're hearing to right now. They're do a couple minutes of a chant. It wraps up, they cheer, a couple minutes of silence, and they start back up again. At this point, it has been peaceful. There has been no throwing of anything, nothing at all. But again, there does not appear to be any law enforcement here, at least not from our vantage point. And we've been kind of walking along Nicollet in different areas over the last couple of hours. And as you mentioned, We've been here. We got down here as quickly as we could, and obviously a very different scene when federal agents were on the scene. It was very intense, confrontational for sure. This is more a gathering of seemingly all residents at this point. I did have a chance to go into Glam Doll Donuts. I know you guys were talking about some of the videos that we've been seeing coming from that area. That's a
Glam Doll Donuts
donut shop here, and there were customers in the store at the time.
Yeah, ICE just killed the guy. He was illegally
comfortable talking about
legal gun owner, legally armed.
Upset. She had been crying.
It does not seem in any way that he reached for his gun.
The street right in front of her. She was there to get donuts. Working to get.
It appears that agents even grabbed his firearm before they shot him.
We're not here hours ago when this all happened. They heard about it. We heard from so many people who said they saw it on social media.
So we're going to step away from Minneapolis. We're going to go down. I think it's in Austin. I think we're in Austin today for the Texas Senate Democratic primary debate. This is Jasmine Crockett against newcomer James Talarico. Getting started here in Austin.
Challenging
and changing.
An evenings here can really move.
Central Texas sports come at you full speed.
This is
and it needs an evening news.
KXAN.
It covers it all at the
NBC station out of Austin.
Evenings on KXAN News.
They're actually in Georgetown, Texas, for the AFL-CIO Cope Convention.
Facility here.
Families still waiting for justice.
She sold my daughter for gas money, $20.
Schools caught between law and belief. When the system stalls, we dig deeper.
I think I'm on the right feed. It's got multiple live feeds, but I think this is the right one.
And 8 Emmys in 2025. Awards recognize it. Change proves it. When Texans speak up, we listen. KXAN investigates.
Yeah, I think here we go. This should be the opening for the debate. Okay.
Could not be higher. In just weeks, Texas
here we go.
Will make a choice that could shape the.
So, as always, with your first time joining me for one of these debates, I try to lay out as much as possible.
Candidates fighting to get your vote for United States Senate.
Let you hear what the candidates actually have to say. I'll keep my snarky remarks for in between.
Different paths to different visions for Texas.
In between their comments.
Over the next hour, they face off on the issues that matter most, putting their records, their ideas, and their leadership on
this is
the
for
this
Cornancy, right?
Democratic U.S. Senate primary debate.
And welcome to the Texas Democratic U.S. Senate primary debate. We are joining you this afternoon from the Texas AFL-CIO Convention in Georgetown, just north of Austin. I'm Daniel Marin, anchor at KXAN News in Austin.
And I'm Gromer Jeffers, political writer with the Dallas Morning News.
Gromer Jeffers?
Crockett and State Representative James Talarico will debate in front of an audience of hundreds of people, of hundreds of union members and their families.
Now, before we begin, here are the
I am not high enough for this shit.
Both of the campaigns. Each candidate will begin with a 60-second opening statement. Candidates will each have 60 seconds to answer each primary question and 30 seconds for rebuttals. A bell will signal when your time is up. The candidates will also have a 60-second closing statement. Now, a card draw determined who gets the first question, and the candidate who answers first will then go second during closing statements. And with that, let's begin the debate.
Ms. Crockett, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, you won the draw and you get to go first. We start with the opening statements. You have 60 seconds.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I thought that I would start with something that most politicians don't say. I hate politics. But I stand before you because I started my life off as an actual CSR. I worked phones at Western Union. I then went on to work phones for MCI WorldCom. And I know that it was the CWA that actually fought against those systems. You see, we're living in a time in which systems are clearly rigged against us. And I am here to tell you that while the system has been fighting me, I have been fighting them back. So whether we are talking about as a public defender, as a state representative, or as a U.S. Congresswoman, I am here to fight the system that is holding so many of us down. So when I was a public defender, it came down to those indigent folk, because it seems like some people get a get out of jail free card, while other people who need that card can't seem to find any type of cards. When it came down to being a state representative, I was one of the co-leads to make sure that we fled the state over voting rights, and ultimately, Governor Abbott decided to respond by sending me a warrant for my arrest, which I currently have framed. And finally, as a U.S. Congresswoman, I have fought so diligently, and so many of you are very well aware of those fights. But more importantly, we know that the President of the United States decided that he would then come after our voices, an authentic, unbought, and unbossed voice in D.C. And that's why they started with the redistricting in Texas. Thank you so much.
Mr. Talarico, we now go to your opening.
The primary is March 3rd. These are the two candidates for the Democratic side.
Hosting us as a proud union member. It's an honor to be here with so many of my union brothers and sisters. I also want to thank Congressman Crockett for being here. Before I was a legislator, I was a public school teacher on the west side of San Antonio, one of the poorest zip codes in the entire state of Texas. On the west side, I learned that the real fight in this country is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom. We will not win this race in November with the same old politics of division. Billionaires want us looking left and right at each other, so we're not looking up at them. We are building a people-powered movement to beat them in November. We've recruited more than 13,000 volunteers. We have traveled to every corner of Texas because we're not writing off any voter or any community, and we have shattered grassroots fundraising records without taking a dime of corporate PAC money. That is how we take power back for working people, and today I'm asking you to join us.
Thank you both, and I'm sure you've heard this before. A Democrat has not won a statewide race in 32 years, so electability is important. In the context of electability, style matters. And the next question aims at outlining each of your styles.
And we'll start with Ms. Crockett. You have referred to your authenticity as your political superpower. You went viral for your clash with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you've called Governor Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. In 60 seconds, explain why that is the right style to win a U.S. Senate seat.
Listen, we are not looking at politics as usual. Just today, we just had another person gunned down in the streets in Minneapolis. And so for anyone that believes that we are going to be able to respond to this in a normal way, I think that they've got it wrong. But more importantly, when we talk about electability, how many of you have heard things like we are the party of the educational elites? We've heard that over and over. We've heard things like we are losing African American men. We are losing Latinos. We have heard these things. Right now, we know when we look at our polling, when it comes to working class people, I am leading by 20 points. We know that I am leading when it comes to African American men. We know that overall women are going to play a really big role in deciding who gets elected, and I am leading amongst women. So at the end of the day, when we look at the numbers are there. This is about whether or not we have the will, and right now, people are not happy with the Democratic Party. I've seen the polling. What they want is someone who is going to be unafraid in the face of what we are facing right now, which is someone who believes he's a king.
Mr. Talarico, before we get to your style, we do want to get your reaction to what Ms. Crockett just said. You'll have 30 seconds for this.
Well, I think the Congresswoman and I both agree that we have a moral imperative to win this election in November. If we don't win, we can't help people. I have seen the consequences in the trenches of the Texas legislature of losing elections. I've seen my constituents get hurt. I've seen rights that we took for granted rolled back. I've seen schools close. I've seen people not be able to access basic health care. So we have to win in November. I think she and I are committed to that. I hope all of us in this room are committed to that singular goal.
Mr. Talarico, you have said that your campaign is shaped by two commandments: love God, love your neighbor. But a lot of Democrats want a fighter. So why do you think that your approach is the right one to get you to Washington? And you have 60 seconds for this.
I don't think you should believe anything a politician says. I think you should look at what a politician has done. The best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. And the people in this room know that I have fought tooth and nail for our values in the Texas House of Representatives. I have gone toe-to-toe with the billionaires who are trying to dismantle public education in this state. Tim Dunn, Ferris Wilks, Betsy DeVos, Jeff Yass. Those same billionaires are now trying to dismantle public education at the federal level. I led the fight against Greg Abbott's private school voucher scam that would have taken money out of our underfunded schools and given it to wealthy parents who already have their kids in private school. Now those billionaires are introducing that same voucher scam at the federal level, and they're gutting the Department of Education. So we need a proven fighter for our schools, for our values, for our constituents in the halls of power in Washington, D.C. I think we need a teacher in the United States Senate.
Ms. Crockett, your reaction to Mr. Talarico's comments, you have 30 seconds for this.
I agree that we absolutely need a fighter. And when I look at my track record, the track record is in this moment. It's about the fierce urgency of now. We are living in a time that many of us have never seen in this country and honestly never thought that we would see. And so I think that as we see a record number of retirements on the federal level from both the Democrats and Republicans, that boils down to people not being able to fight in this particular environment. I think that I've evidenced that. In fact, James and I served in the state house together. He's actually been elected longer than I have been elected, yet he's not as known right now because I have engaged in these fights and they have been right there on the front lines where people could see me out front. I think that because of, I didn't get my 50, my bad.
Boy.
Moving on, we're going to stick with you, Ms. Crockett. We have a follow-up question when it comes to electability. What's the political
She didn't get her what?
you are willing to take that you feel like your opponent would not take in order to win the U.S. Senate seat?
I think that I will do the edgy things, the things that the political consultants will never tell you to do. Because right now, people are hurting. This isn't about games. It's not about politics as usual. It's not about who sounds as clean as possible. It is about tapping into the rawness of this moment. I have been to Minneapolis and heard the stories of the people on the ground as they are being accosted. And obviously, we've got killings that are going on. And now we have the DOJ that has decided that they want to prosecute the wife of Renee Good. I have been there in California after David Huerta of SEIU had been incarcerated by ICE, and I listened to his story and met with him because we went there. I have been to Chicago. I am here to tell you that I am not just sitting in DC, I am getting out into the streets. And right now, to be perfectly honest, if we're gonna win and keep our country, we're gonna need somebody who can file bills but also knows how to be a street fighter. And so that is my response.
Mr. Talarico, same question, 30 seconds. What's the political risk that you are willing to take that you feel your opponent would not?
Here's the risk I'm willing to take. Congresswoman Crockett and I are on the same team. I think we've already seen in this debate that there's going to be a temptation by the media to pit us against each other. But we are all focused on the same goal, which is winning in November and stopping a Senator Ken Paxton. And so I'm thinking just in this debate, you're going to see that Congresswoman Crockett and I agree on a whole lot more than we disagree on. And that unity is a threat to the billionaires who want to pit us all against each other and who right now are running this country, running this economy, and we need someone who has stood up to those billionaires in our nation's capital.
We want to move to the topic of immigration enforcement now. As many of you know, there was a deadly shooting involving federal immigration
this fucking morning
in Minneapolis.
The House this week approved a spending bill that included funding.
The blood on the ground hasn't even dried yet.
Against the bill Thursday. Can you explain your opposition and tell us whether you support the idea of defunding or abolishing ICE? You have 60 seconds.
I absolutely voted against this bill. There was no way I was going to continue to pump a historic amount of money into this rogue organization that is going out and is violating people's rights every single day on American cities. I was just not going to do it. At the end of the day, right now, I think that we need to clean house from top to bottom. I ended up signing on to impeachment of Kristi Noem, as well as I call her Cruel Kristi. I signed on to that. But I don't even know, here's my big issue. Right now, we have an administration all throughout that is deciding, yes, these are the laws, but we're just gonna ignore them. They are not following the law. So why are we rewarding bad behavior? And that's basically what it is. This is the 5th highest funded military force in the entire world. And what are they doing? They're killing people in the middle of the street. They decided to execute a mother of 3 in broad daylight. I don't understand how we are sitting here and acting like this is normal. The only reason Yep. Trying to be respectful of the time.
I do want to ask you, though, would you support abolishing or defunding ICE?
We absolutely have to clean house. Whatever that looks like, I am willing to do it. Because if there are truly Proud Boys that are currently in ICE,
that was funny.
That's a problem.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Talarico, how would you vote on ICE funding measures, and do you believe ICE should be abolished or defunded? You have 60 seconds.
ICE shot a mother in the face. ICE kidnapped a 5-year-old boy. ICE executed a man in broad daylight on our streets just this morning. It's time to tear down this secret police force and replace it with an agency that actually is going to focus on public safety. We need to impeach Kristi Noem. We need to prosecute agents who've abused their power. We have to haul these masked men before Congress so the world can see their faces. We should be cracking down on the cartels, not our communities. We should be prosecuting gang members, not small business owners. We should be hunting down human traffickers, not moms and babies. We need comprehensive immigration reform in this country. We need to remake this broken immigration system in our own image. And once we win a Senate majority, we will do exactly that.
Just to be clear, though, would you, in 10 seconds, abolish or defund ICE?
We have seen this historic increase in funding for ICE. That money has come out of our healthcare. So what I would say is that we should take that money back and put it in our communities where it belongs.
Staying on the topic of ICE, with a follow-up question, Mr. Talarico, you'll have 30 seconds for this. One comment that you have made is that ICE should crack down on cartels. So what does cracking down on cartels look like to you?
So we have a law enforcement agency that is going after American citizens, that's going after our neighbors, including our undocumented neighbors. There was a mom and dad up in DFW, the Vargases. They own a dry cleaners. They've had it for 20 years.
Those damn Vargases.
By their customers, by their community members. They raised a daughter who is now attending Texas Tech University. On their way back from Tech, after dropping her off, they were detained by ICE. If our law enforcement officials are going after the Vargases, that means they're not going after the cartels or rapists or murderers. And so I think whatever we think on this issue, we should have law enforcement focused on public safety.
Ms. Crockett,
I'm sorry, I was wrong. Free the Vargases.
Proposed the Track ICE Act, which would require immigration-related flight data be released within 72 hours. Explain how this transparency would affect the way ICE operates. You have 30 seconds.
I've had too many people call my office and not know where their loved ones are. I have too many people that don't know whether or not they are safe. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know that we can ever say that you're going to be right here in Texas at the Dilley facility. We know that they just found that there was a detainee that had been killed. They ruled that it was a homicide. That is the same facility that they took that precious 5-year-old to. I plan to go and conduct oversight on Wednesday with one of my colleagues. The sad part is that if I conduct oversight, I have to look at somebody like my colleague, LaMonica McIver, who is now facing 17 years in prison because she...
All right, this follow-up is for both of you. If elected senator, you will represent...
I think that's on them and not me.
Many of whom support deporting undocumented immigrants. How do you balance your feelings toward ICE versus the Texans you will represent who support the enforcement we're seeing right now? Ms. Crockett, we start with you. You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, as it relates to the enforcement that we see right now, let me be clear. They are supposed to do immigration and customs enforcement, not going after U.S. citizens, not going after people that are documented. That is not what they are supposed to do, but that is what they are doing. They are turning us into Nazi Germany by saying they're going to go door to door. They are going after people because of their accent or the color of their skin, because this Supreme Court gave them carte blanche ability to do so. So all we want ICE to do is to do what ICE was created to do, and unfortunately that's not what they are doing.
All right, thank you. Mr. Talarico, same question.
They were created by the Bush administration
versus the people
as like a racist enforcement, so, you know, abolish them.
30 seconds.
So my family is from the border. My mom grew up in Laredo, Texas. I feel like Texans understand this issue of immigration more so than people in other states because we live with it, both the benefits and the challenges. So what I've said is that our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front and a lock on the door. We can welcome immigrants who want to live the American dream. We can build a pathway to citizenship for those neighbors who have been here, making us richer and stronger, and we can keep out people who mean to do us harm.
All right, well, this debate is being hosted by the Texas AFL-CIO, and some of their union members have some pre-recorded questions for the candidates.
We start with one from Calvin Mackey, first business agent for International Longshoremen's Association, Local 24 in Houston. Here's the question.
As a longshoreman, I've seen firsthand how artificial intelligence and automation driven by corporate interests has resulted in job losses. If elected, what will you prioritize at the federal level to ensure workers have a voice in artificial intelligence implementation?
Well, Christoph, I doubt you, so let's kick you the fuck out.
Artificial intelligence.
Mr. Talarico, and I believe Mr. Mackey is here.
Ooh, I like them apples.
How would you prioritize the federal level to ensure workers have a voice in AI implementation and are protected from unfair uses of AI? You have 60 seconds.
Well, when I was a public school teacher, I was a member of my local teachers union, the San Antonio Alliance. Shout out to the Alliance. And now that I'm a state lawmaker, I'm a proud member of the Texas State Employees Union. And I'm proud to say that in the Texas legislature, I have a 100% pro-worker voting record from the AFL-CIO. You've had my back when I was a worker in the classroom, and I've had your back as a legislator. And that includes when it comes to AI. In the U.S. Senate, we have to have a senator who's going to take on this problem, who's going to stop AI surveillance in the workplace, who's going to make sure that AI is not making hiring or promotion decisions, that there's a human check on those decisions, and ensuring that AI is improving jobs, not replacing them. This scale of innovation we have not seen in this country. And right now it's being done in purely private hands by a handful of billionaires for their own profit. We need the public sector, we need the U.S. Senate to get in this fight, to develop a regulatory framework that will protect workers during this new AI era.
Thank you. Ms. Crockett, same question. What would you prioritize at the federal level to ensure workers have a voice in AI implementation and are protected from unfair uses of AI? You have 60 seconds.
Thank you so much. So I currently serve in the AI caucus, and so we've been talking about a lot of things. In fact, there's a bill specifically
the AI cock,
not on the job side of it, that AOC has recently introduced, and this is around some of the dangers of AI. I think that number one, we have to confront the dangers and make sure that there are real parameters and limitations on it just from a general standpoint. Number two, as we look to our communities, we are going to absolutely have to protect our communities from these AI data centers that are being built everywhere, and we can go into that a little bit later, I'm sure, as we talk about some environmental stuff. And number three, as it relates to innovation, we have a Department of Education in which they are trying to basically defund at this moment. They are trying to limit our ability to get the skills and training that we need. And so we've got to make sure that we stay ahead of the curve and not behind the curve. Listen, we're standing in Austin right now. This is where CHIPS began. My predecessor actually was the one that did the CHIPS
the TV show.
Act. And so we know that there is a place for workers for sure when it comes to innovation. But the idea that you can only have one or the other is wrong. And so we have to make sure that we are protecting workers every step of the way to make sure that they are not being replaced by automation.
Ms. Crockett, let's stick with you and let's talk about the data centers in this follow-up question. Texas is becoming a hub for AI data centers, which can drive up water demand and utility bills. So how do you ensure the Texans get the benefits of AI without paying higher costs for water and electricity? You have 30 seconds for this.
Yeah, it's not even just the higher costs. Those are actual issues that we're going to have to deal with, but it's also the supply. Right now, we're dealing with the fact that there's a winter storm right here in the state of Texas. We don't know if our grid is going to hold up, and we're talking about these data centers that are actually pulling on us even more. So what we've got to do is, again, make sure that we put a framework around these, but we also have to work not just on the federal level. We have to work at every single level of government with our state and our city and our county levels, because we're going to need some zoning put into place. We're going to make sure, right now I'm working with one of my cities on a similar issue. We have to make sure that we protect the people that live in these communities first from these dangers. The final point that I'll make about the water, it's not just that they're taking our water, it's that they're polluting our water.
Mr. Talarico, 30 seconds for the same follow-up question. How do you ensure the Texans get the benefits of artificial intelligence without paying higher costs for electricity and water?
I mentioned in my opening statement that I've traveled every corner of this state. I was up in Amarillo, Texas, for a town hall, and I stayed to the very end, meeting with every single member of the community. I can't tell you how many times I heard about the data center being built in Amarillo, and it was done without the consent of the community. And so in the US Senate, I will fight to make sure that these AI companies pay for their own energy and they don't pass it along to consumers. And I'll make sure that we work on sustainable water infrastructure, because Texas is running out of water and these data centers are exacerbating that problem. And so we should tax these companies, we should tax these technologies to pay for that kind of infrastructure.
Let's go ahead and switch topics now. In our polling, Texans, like many people across the country, say that the economy is their #1 concern. So with that in mind, we would like to ask your position on a few economic issues.
Mr. Talarico, are you in favor of increasing taxes on billionaires?
Absolutely.
So is there an income level you would consider raising taxes to pay for needed services?
I absolutely
60
think
seconds.
that I absolutely think that billionaires need to pay their fair share in taxes. Right now, 3 men own as much wealth as the entire middle class: Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk is about to become the world's first trillionaire. He's about to make more money than every single elementary school teacher in America combined. Do we really think that one man is worth more than every elementary school teacher? These billionaires aren't just buying yachts and jets.
I sure as shit
Buying
don't.
power. Our schools are being defunded so billionaires can get another tax break. Our healthcare premiums are going through the roof so billionaires can get another tax break. Our Social Security benefits, our Medicare benefits are constantly under threat so billionaires can get yet another tax break. So we need a U.S. Senator, we need a Senate majority that's going to fight to make sure these billionaires pay their fair share, and also raise the corporate tax rate to make sure these giant corporations are paying their fair share as well.
So
And stop shoveling money at corporations.
consider in
I
2017?
am very open to this discussion, but what I will not compromise on is making sure that these billionaires pay for all
We
that
have
they've
so
got.
many corporate handouts.
They have benefited from our infrastructure.
Tax loopholes,
They've benefited
tax
from our schools. They've
incentives.
benefited from our workers, and now they're not putting anything back in. That has to end.
Thank you. Ms. Crockett, same question. Are you in favor of increasing taxes on billionaires? And if so, at what income level? You have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. We absolutely need to increase the tax rate. And frankly, I voted against the big ugly bill, specifically because it was all about giving these extraordinary tax breaks while at the same time defunding Medicaid and Medicare to the tune of almost $1 trillion that has been pulled out of the healthcare ecosystem. And even when they pulled that money out of the healthcare ecosystem, unfortunately, it still was not enough to satisfy all the goodies that they gave over to the billionaires. So do we have a framework of how to do this? We absolutely do. The last time that we balanced the budget was when Clinton was in office. And so I think that we need to just go ahead and do what we know works.
And also that caused a mini
In
recession.
place when
Economics is
Clinton was in
weird.
office, and we were able to balance our budget while also being able to have people that had access to food, access to education, and access to health care.
All right, thank you.
A follow-up on the economy now. Affordability is another big concern. Ms. Crockett, in 30 seconds, what is one policy that you would prioritize to bring down costs for Texans?
If I had to go with just one, it would be tariffs. And we have to roll back these tariffs. Right now, we know that our farmers and ranchers are filing record-breaking bankruptcies in this moment because of the trade policies. We know that when we look at the Port of Houston, that is presenting a problem for them. We know that Texas is actually the top exporting state in the entire country. We also know that our small businesses are shuttering their doors, as well as even some of these larger corporations that are employing a lot of folk that are sitting here specifically because of the tariffs. I was just in Amarillo with Tyson workers right now, and right now they are shutting a plant, or they are actually relieving 1,700 people of their jobs because of these tariffs, in which we don't have our ranchers being satisfied.
All right.